Galamoth, level 26 upgrade. So, this time I ended up going with T-Bone Racing's front bumper for the Traxxas Stampede. Right now I do have the RPM bumper on there, but with this body it just doesn't look that good in my opinion. With this, it's a lot more protection. So let's go ahead and open it up and check it out. Alright, so inside we have the brace and then we have the bumpers themselves. And these almost feel like rubber, but they are definitely plastic. Perhaps rubber coating? Also, we have all the hardware and a card. No stickers though. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing assembled. So, first up, we need to go ahead and attach the bumpers. They do include the hardware as I mentioned before, and it looks like these are stainless steel. However, they use Phillips head. So I'm gonna switch them out for some hex screwdrivers because I like these a lot more than I do the Phillips. All you have to do is line everything up and then put in each screw. One down, one more to go. And that's it. There's the bumper. In order to install it, you're just gonna flip the RC over and of course remove these two screws. With those two out of the way, you can see that there is actually 4 spots for 4 screws, but they don't utilize that for the RPM bumper. However, for the T-Bone bumper, they do. So using the hardware they included, I'm gonna go ahead and install these 4 screws. Here's before. And here, of course, is after. Now that is a front bumper. It matches the RPM bumper in the back a lot more than the one that they had for the front. This looks good. But that's not the end of the upgrade because there are more parts. What are these parts for? So all of this extra hardware is to add even more support to the front bumper. Let's go ahead and get it installed. So, in order to do this, I'm gonna have to take off this bottom bumper. In the front, you can see that there is a space for this small little screw to fit into. However, it's Phillips. And now, it's hex. I prefer hex over the Phillips every day. I have had so many Phillips head screws strip on me. But anyways, we're gonna get this brace. We're gonna slide this over, and then we're gonna use the 3mm nut that they include to tighten this together. And now we can go ahead and reinstall the front bumper. Now that we have the bumper fully assembled, now it's time to go ahead and remove a couple screws on the RC itself. We are gonna be taking out these 2 top front screws. Once those 2 screws are out of the way, we're gonna get these white spacers, put those on top. Then we're gonna grab the bumper and we're gonna slide the top piece in between the bulkhead and the chassis. Then we're gonna use the elongated screws they include and have these go through the top. One thing I should mention is that these screws sizes is gonna be 3mm hex. Now, I'm gonna flip the RC over and then install these 4 screws. Once those are in, you are done. And you can see that this bumper is not gonna move at all anymore. That is a heck of a lot more protection than the RPM one. So there is something I should go ahead and mention. With the stock Stampede body, that nut doesn't interfere at all. However, with the Proline body I have, you can see I can't even put the body on there unless I push the bumper pretty far back. It looks terrible. Now I could drill a hole or cut a slot open for this body, but I just don't want to do that. I'm not going to be bashing this RC too harshly, so I'm pretty sure just the front bumper by itself is going to be more than enough protection. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this top brace. So now that I have the bumper off, I was wondering if there was any way for me to flip the screw and nut over, and as you can see, this front bottom bumper goes right across the front, so there's no way I can put a nut on that side. However, you can see that these are really thick poles. So I was wondering, could I drill a hole through here and have the nut hidden behind this bumper? I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this. It's probably gonna void any kind of warranty, but honestly, I would like to have the brace on there. The extra protection, believe me, is gonna help. So I went ahead and I marked it on this drill bit, and I'm gonna see if I can actually do this. So I went ahead and drilled a bigger hole, and you can see that a nut now can fit in there without any issue. Now I really can keep the brace. All I have to do is take care of this part right here. After using a slightly bigger drill bit, I went ahead and drilled a little bit into this side. That way, with this screw, once it's tightened down all the way, it's going to be flush with the plastic. Now I can go ahead and put everything back together. Now with everything back in place, you can see I no longer have this nut that's sticking in the way, so the body should be able to fit now. So now that everything's been reinstalled, you can see that the body can now fit, but it's still pushing up against the body a little bit. The bumper is being pulled back so much by this top brace. So at this point, there's only one last thing I can do. If I really want this body to fit comfortably onto the RC, what I have to do is take these two screws out and then drill holes further back into this top brace. That way it will allow the front bumper to lean up forward a little bit more. Now it doesn't look like I did much, but I did do something. I got a drill bit that was the same size as the hole, got it going, and then I pushed the drill bit down. As you can see, it elongated the hole. This is going to allow for the brace to ease up on the front and let it sit a little bit further forward. And that last modification allowed me to put the body on there without it bending backwards. Now, I really do not have any complaints about this bumper. In fact, I think this is way better than the RPM one. Except for the price. It is a bit pricey, but I think you get what you paid for, and this is a lot more protection than the RPM one. Now, like I mentioned, with the stock body, you don't have to do any kind of modification. It fits on there perfectly, but for aftermarket bodies, well, you can see that you have to do a little bit of manipulation for it to fit. And like always, I have to give a huge shout out to everyone who's helped me on Patreon. Because of you guys, this upgrade was possible. And that was a level 26 upgrade for Galamoth.